Okay, so let me go to dashboard. Okay, we're gonna go to my YouTube channel real quick. We'll get started here in just a second. I want to make sure that I share my link out with the Discord. Probably should get a little bit of music going in the background, I would say. We're at 420 subscribers. Probably should also make a thumbnail for this later, but I know this is a little bit not with my untapped potential or my on tap of what it usually looks like because I'm streaming from Streamlabs this go around instead of the norm setup on StreamYard, but I kind of want to do this without StreamYard, so yeah, we're gonna go with it and rock out from there. Let me get the live chat up. Give me just a second. Uh, Forgot that I have to do it this way. No, I don't like it I don't like it anymore. Let me see. Okay. So before I go crazy here, remind me later on that end of things. Not now. Okay. Yeah, y'all can see my Windows 10. I'm making it last as long as humanly possible. Um, what is going on here? Okay. I don't know what just happened to my Underdog, but I don't love what's going on. I don't love how this is starting off so far. 1 second. I promise I know that I'm live. Just give me having some technical difficulties here. It's been a while since I've gone live on YouTube, so that's partially why this is being a little bit obnoxiously annoying. So give me 1 second. Oh my gosh, it's being obnoxious. Give me 1 second. I promise, guys. I'm almost done. Okay. Think we're good now. I hope we're good now. Can y'all type in the chat? Let me see if I can see the chat real quick. Testing. Okay, it looks like I can see the chat. I want to make sure that I can see the chat in my phone as well. Give me 1 second. Let's see. Okay. I think we're good. Yeah, I can see my phone. I can see my message that I just did. All right. If y'all are new here, make sure y'all smack a like. You know, we are in the streets actively today. As y'all know, we got a few good starts. I figured, you know, why not go live with a few good starts? Because it looks like we're getting some good puppy drafts in today. We got 33 puppy drafts in. As you can see, this was the last draft we just completed. Not too long ago, we ended up with Lamar Jackson, Jared Goff, Jonathan Taylor, Ashton Genty, Keaton Mitchell, Alvin Kamara, Brian Robinson, Zay Flowers, and Emeka Buka, Jameson Williams, DK Metcalf, Casey Concepcion, Travis Hunter, Kayshawn Booty, Cooper Kupp, Sam Laporta, Kyle Pitts, and Gunnar Helm rounding it out. Pretty solid team. Honestly, the board is kind of weird. I'm going to try to close this and move it the best I can, but it plays a little bit funny sometimes. Um, we see kind of a funny board. AJ Brown goes to pick 16. Chase Brown, Kenneth Walker, Devon Achane all go ahead of Ashton Genty. Same with Saquon Barkley. So we did get a faller there in Ashton Genty, which this is the first time I've gotten that combo. And we took full advantage of it. Luther Burden drops to pick 55. Mike Evans to pick 59. Marvin Harrison gets pushed up to 61. Bucky to 63. We get Jameson Williams all the way back at pick 65. Excuse me. Got a little bit of the hiccups. Brian Thomas gets pushed up to pick 51. You don't see him go on the left side of the board that often, so maybe this guy is just trying to get unique. That's the only thing I can really think of by pushing Brian Thomas up that high. But yeah, we're going to hop into another room if y'all want to hop in with us. Friends and family. I wish I could get into another boxer, but I can't. So Kind of unfortunate. The only thing I can really draft right now is puppy threes, so that is what we were getting into today. Um, Dang, snap filled. That was certainly fast. Pick six. Not exactly where you love to draft. See fully loadeds in the lobby. Is that Miles? Mile, Mile, I don't know. Mile just is shaking. I don't know how to say that, but I know that, I don't use this tool for the rankings portion. I really just use it for the roster construction portion. It's really all I use this tool for. I haven't input my own rankings into this tool. I know you can make your own rankings. I'm not really a Flock Fantasy promoter at this point, but like the same point, I think it's a good tool. You can go to Best Ball or well, not Best Ball. What am I saying? Draft Sheets. If you really want to customize your own draft sheets, you can. Also, if you go to Rankings on the tab here, you can go to Rankings and you can make your own rankings, create your own board, and you can kind of start with somebody's, or you can start with a blank board and go from there. So it's pretty cool little tool, and you can import it into this tool if you really want to. But I just haven't been, I haven't taken the time to do so. Let's put it that way. So Puka Nakua. I mean, honestly, at this point, Christian McCaffrey's kind of my pick. If JSN goes, if JSN doesn't go, then it's JSN. So yeah, I mean Christian McCaffrey. We're just gonna pick him. No real thoughts there. We're playing a contest where you kind of have to pick the biggest upside you possibly can. Christian McCaffrey is that biggest upside imaginable. I don't have a lot of them anyway, so it's fine with me. Hopefully you guys are having a good Saturday evening. Make sure y'all, like I said, like and subscribe to the channel. Would greatly appreciate it. Got a lot more drafts coming, but season's almost here. I mean, we're about a month away. We pull up the little calendar here. We're about a month out. We're not that far away, so thank goodness. Football season is almost upon us again. I'm kind of getting to the point where I'm getting a little bit fatigued drafting, but it's okay. Unfortunately, we're not going to get anything to creep by us at the turn. Fully loaded's a pretty sharp drafter, so we're not going to get it. We're not going to get anything to creep by him, unfortunately. So maybe a little bit harder to get the unique combos that we're hoping to get, but it is what it is. I mean, you live and you learn. You turn on a stream, and that's what happens. So you don't get the A-Chan drop here. I typically would take Drake London, which is what I'm going to do. So Drake London goes here. I have AJ Brown way down in my rankings. I have not been getting to AJ Brown hardly at all. I think, he's kind of not really in my draftable range. I think he's a third round pick, and I don't think he's really that draftable. Him and Rashee Rice are kind of guys I'm having a hard time getting to. I don't love where they're going in drafts, and to me, it's just one of those things where I'd rather take Drake London, or I'd rather take Nico Collins, or I'd rather take those guys just because I feel like they have better upside. George Pickens, even, I feel like has better upside just because of the offense George Pickens is in. So I've been kind of struggling to get to those guys. I've seen people do this. I did this in one, and I actually really liked it, where I pulled up two running backs with Jahmyr Gibbs and got Jeremiah Love and Breece Hall. I've done that. Only mine was Jeremiah Love and Javonte, I think is who I pulled up. I really like doing that. It's fun. It's a unique way to get unique. A fun way to get unique. A unique way to get unique. I don't know. I don't know if English was Englishing there, but Rashee Rice, at this juncture, I'll take him as my receiver too. I would prefer most of the time Trey McBride to him, but at that faller of a price, I'll take him because I know that won't happen that often. So we get a CMC, Drake London, and Rashee Rice start in this first puppy draft. Hopefully, like I said, y'all having a good Saturday night. I went out with the wife and we were just hanging on and hanging out, and that was about it. We went and traded in a bunch of controllers. Um, so bunch of gaming controllers. They gave me like $85 for, so that was cool. Then we went and got some ice cream, and that was that. Jacoby Lane, first preseason touchdown. Dude, Jacoby Lane is getting so much hype. It kind of scares me for my Rashad Bateman bags a little bit because I really do think Jacoby Lane might actually be something. Um, so we'll see. I mean, it's a little bit scary. Matthew Hibner, he had a big play today too. I mean, I don't think Andrews is in any kind of trouble at all with Matthew Hibner, but we'll see. Oh man, let's see who we can get here. Josh Allen at this pick would be nice. That's extremely nice. We're gonna take Josh Allen and not even think twice. The Josh Allen fall, unbelievable. I don't typically love going quarterback early, but getting Josh Allen on the left side of the board is a good thing. Truly, it is one of the better things that you could possibly get to fall to you. Anytime I see fourth round Josh, I almost click him. It's like if it's like, early fourth, I'm fine with passing, but like it's later juncture of the fourth, I just don't know that I would rather take Josh Jacobs over Josh Allen or Garrett Wilson over Josh Allen personally. I'm not to that point, so that's kind of where I'm at with it. Mike Evans goes off the board. Devontae Adams off the board. Joe Burrow goes real early here. JMO goes off the board. I mean, we got two teams with no running backs here, which is interesting. Because I am more than happy to click, Terry McLaurin here. More than happy to click DJ Moore. I think we're going to go click Terry, though, because I just think this price is just really cheap for what he could be. I really like the Terry McLaurin at pick 54 here. He can have DJ Moore. That's totally fine with me. So we have Josh Allen, Christian McCaffrey, Drake London, Rashee Rice, and Terry McLaurin through the first 5 rounds so far. Really like this start so far. I think we got a good start. We've had some fallers already, so it's kind of nice. Kind of nice. Kind of nice. Let's see. Let me make sure that everything's working fine. Yeah, okay. I'm also going to make a post on X real quick, or Twitter, or whatever y'all want to call it. Hopefully nothing crazy pops up on my Twitter. Okay, good. It's just football. Okay. And I'm just going to put this as Josh Allen. Because we just ripped Josh Allen. So, why not? Why not? Why not? All right. Back in it. Back in it. Lamar Jackson goes at the turn with Travion Henderson. I mean, dude, Lamar's falling to the turn, which I don't really understand. 4 running backs and Jefferson, that's fun. Not really my cup of tea, but it's okay. I don't love that it gives the grades here. I don't know why my team is such a low grade considering everything that I've gotten is like a value. And I feel like it's been a huge value. So take that for what it is. Brian Thomas is sitting here looking at me dead in the face right now. We're just gonna take him and keep it pushing. Keep taking the value where it falls. I would have liked to have taken a running back, but nothing really fell that really makes sense for me to take. So I'm not gonna force the hand. I'm just not gonna force it this soon. DK Metcalf off the board. I just got him at pick 80 in the last room, so. It's interesting that the 101 Gibbs drafter decided to still go DeAndre Swift because that's not really a uniqueness lever that I would think a lot of people do. Because, like, the Brees Hall bring up and the Jeremiah Love bring up, I feel like that is going to be a lot less common. But then adding Swift, which is a lot more common combo with Jahmyr Gibbs, kind of feel like that defeats the purpose of doing what he did. Maybe I'm just sitting here spitting out my mouth, but I'd love to get Jaylen Warren, but Jaylen Warren goes off the board. I'm not a big. I don't love this range of players like at all, even a little bit. Probably gonna go RJ Harvey. I don't love Jonathan Brooks. I'm not a Jonathan Brooks guy. I think his price is way too expensive for what he is. You could probably say the same thing about RJ Harvey. I just think RJ Harvey's at least shown that he can get on a football field and produce. I don't think Jonathan Brooks has done that yet, so hence the reason why I'm taking RJ Harvey over Jonathan Brooks. I just, I'd rather take Chuba Hubbard at his current price if I was going to take a Panthers backfield player at all, which I don't very often, so take that for what it is as well. Rico Dowdle, Josh Downs. Go ahead and put this right here. Jeez, they say my team is just horrific, huh? I mean, I don't really listen to this whole flock fantasy tool a whole lot, but I like to look at it just for the shits and gigs of it. But, it is what it is. I mean, like, I would not want Godwin as my receiver, too. When I see a lobby with Drake London, Rashee Rice, Terry McLaurin, Brian Thomas as your 4 receivers, and CMC can match any of these running backs. Harvey, not so much. I get it. He'll make it up with his RB2, but I just, I don't love that. Considering Josh and Lamar can throw haymakers at each other, too. So, I don't know. That's just a personal preference, Take it for what it is. We could pull a uniqueness lever and get Trevor Lawrence and have the same bye weeks. I don't love doing that, but I'm okay with doing, okay with this. I think we're going to go Michael Wilson. I'm not really big on doing the whole Diggs thing and bringing him up this high. Personally, I think Diggs is good. Don't get me wrong, but I have 37% Diggs already. I'm not willing to pay the price of what he is currently, considering I also have Terry already, so not willing to really pay that price. I'm okay with not paying that much of a premium for him. I'd be good with Fannin. I'd be good with Pat Mahomes. I'd be good with Purdy. I'm not really a big Jordan Mason guy at this point at that price. That price is a little bit too much for me. I think Mahomes is a fun one to have. It's kind of a Rashee Rice Mahomes kind of stack. I think that's interesting. Okay. Let's go ahead and take Patty Mahomes. A little bit of a value fall here. So we have Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Christian McCaffrey, R.J. Harvey, Drake London, Rashee Rice, Terry McLaurin, Brian Thomas, and Michael Wilson. Not a bad little team here. Not a bad little team. Let's scroll down here and let the board do what it does and see what we get here as kind of an outcome here. See what comes back to us at pick 115. Hopefully we can get some decent value fall back to us. I really need Underdog to drop some more contests because, to be honest with you, I don't really love puppies a whole lot. I mean, they're fine. It's just they're not they're not fun, I guess. I mean, they're fun for like weird, unique starts, but like they're not really a contest I anticipate like maxing or anything like that. This Casey Concepcion play today was certainly cool. Considering I really, really like him in Dynasty. Um, so, I think there's a lot of interesting here to be talking about. Jacoby Lane in round 16. I don't know, man. Like, kind of feel like that one's just a little bit of a stretch. That we're already on the hype train of Jacoby Lane. I can understand it, but it's not my jurisdiction to be hyping Jacoby Lane. I get it though. I can totally understand. Um, you know, y'all are on that jurisdiction. I am on the clock. Oh brother. Um, give me Casey Concepcion. We'll take Casey. I like me some Casey Concepcion. It's one of my favorite picks on the board right now. I just think that he's a lot better than his ADP is giving him credit for. Um, you know, I truly do. I think he's better than what his ADP is. So far, we have a pretty hero running back thing going here. We're hoping that we can get to Kincaid. If we can, great. If not, we'll just take the Mahomes double with Rice and Kelsey. See what happens though. See what happens. Like I said, there's a lot of stuff that can happen in these rooms, especially puppy drafts. Lots of different things can happen. Kincaid goes off the board at pick 119, 10, ahead of ADP to a 2 tight end room already. That's 2 elite tight ends. So like that's what I'm saying. Like these rooms are so unpredictable. You may not get any stack with Josh Allen, which is fine. I mean, Josh Allen's one of the few quarterbacks I am okay with taking naked. You already have Mahomes and Rice anyway, so take that for what it is. Obviously, you'd prefer to, get Josh with somebody. At worst, I could do a last round Josh Palmer click, but Josh Palmer click, Keon Coleman click. I know a lot of people click Keon Coleman. That's why I don't really click Keon Coleman a whole lot. I'm not a big Keon Coleman proponent. I never have been. I'd rather take Palmer. Or just going to take the double. The Kelsey and Rashee Rice double with Mahomes. We'll just take the double. That's fine. We could take a Shakir click and have it be done at receiver. That's another choice that we could do. Not really the strongest option in my opinion, but Khalil Shakir spike week, not gonna hurt anybody. Who says Khalil Shakir can't be that guy? Who says? Did I get a direct message on Twitter? I did. Who is this from? And why? Oh, okay. I don't know why I got this, but okay. Interesting. Whatever. It's fine. Anyway, moving on. Khalil Shakir goes to fully loaded, so fully loaded is just my kryptonite, huh? Takes a little Keaton Mitchell. I'm pretty happy with the receiver room we ended up with here. You know, we definitely need some running backs. I'm okay with both these two. They don't like excite me by any stretch of the imagination, but they're at least something that I feel like I can get a little bit excited about. Um, you know, I haven't gotten to Marshawn Lloyd a lot. Wish I would have got him as a last round click, but it is what it is. We move on. We live and we learn. We live and we learn. I'd love to get Woody Marks here. I think that would be the best pick in yours truly's team, but you know, we'll see what happens. Denzel Boston off the board. We get Woody Marks, thankfully. Desperately needed that Woody Marks click. I think we could take Tank Bigsby at this next pick and be totally fine. Um, you know, I kind of do like the click a little bit. You could take a Dawson Knox click as a last tight end. You could do that. That'd be a uniqueness lever that you could pull. That, you know, week 17 rolls around, Dawson Knox gets in the end zone twice. I mean, is it one that I really want to bet on a ton? Not really. But he definitely, you know, his last couple seasons have been good. You know, I don't think it's really that bad of a bet to say, you know, Dawson Knox gets in twice. You know, I don't think it's a necessarily bad bet to make. I just don't know if it's a bet that I want to make in best ball, especially with the last round click that I feel like is, you know, a zero most weeks. But if on the contingency plan that Dalton Kincaid gets hurt, you know, like he does every single season, it wouldn't be a terrible call out. Damn, they took Alvin Kamara. That sucks. I guess we're gonna go with Jake Berg here. Big value faller. Just take the value fall of pick 150 Jake Berg and move on. I think that's the best call. Is to just take the value faller and move on and figure out the running back later. I think, you know, in these rooms especially, you gotta take your values where you can, and Jake Berg falling to pick 150 is one of the bigger values, just because he is a tight end one and there's no real competition there for him. And he's in a good offense, so he's automatically going to get more opportunities for points. At least that's my personal take on it. So, you know, Travis Kelsey's not going to be that spike week guy anymore, like he used to be, but he's steady Freddy. So, you know, I wouldn't anticipate Travis Kelsey having many 20-point games, but a lot of 10-point games where he's like, you know, 30 yards and a touchdown, or 50 yards and, you know, 5 catches, or something like that, to where he's, you know, he's not necessarily going to be the guy who gets 2 touchdowns and 80 yards anymore. That's not really who Travis Kelsey is now. I mean, maybe he could, you know, but I don't see that being in his realm of outcomes that often as it used to be. So, but so far the team we got a 2-3-6-2 going. We got Josh Allen, Mahomes, McCaffrey, Harvey, Woody Marks, Drake London, Rasheed Rice, Terry McLaurin, Brian Thomas, Michael Wilson, Casey Concepcion, Travis Kelsey, and Jake Ferguson rounding it out. Hoping to get Marshawn Lloyd here. It's a little bit ugly. It's getting a little bit ugly at running back. We'll say that much. Don't really love the Tyler Algier pick if that's what falls, but you know, we're hoping that we can get Marshawn Lloyd, hoping that we can get Dylan Sampson, you know, those kinds of guys that can hold the fort, so to speak, for the RB2 spots. Um, Algier goes off the board. Go ahead and take Marshawn Lloyd. I'm not a big Marshawn Lloyd proponent, but you know, that's what just so happened fell to me in this draft, so that's what we're going that's the hand that we're dealt. So Cyrus Allen. I don't know if you guys have been watching the tapes, but Cyrus Allen looked great today again. I'm struggling not to fall for the Cyrus Allen stuff because I definitely fell for the Rashee Rice stuff when he was a new guy. Um, and it's just, yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. So we'll see. I mean, I was reading a message real quick. Okay. Um, okay, so we looks like we might get Dylan Sampson fall to us here, or Jaden Blue. Chat, which ones do you guys prefer? Jaden Blue or Dylan Sampson? Well, Sampson goes off the board, so I guess we really didn't get a choice. But I'll take Jaden Blue. Um, I don't really have a strong lean. At least right now. But during this drafting season, I've definitely had the lean of Dylan Sampson. Dylan Sampson had a nice run today that looked really good. Um, I think Jaden Blue definitely has his appeal. If Jaden Blue could learn to be a little bit more of a patient runner rather than just kind of go 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 go, I think Jaden Blue would be a lot better than people give him credit to be. Um, you know, he's a very fast, very explosive guy. Just he's a very go 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 kind of guy too. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but in the range of outcomes for him being a relevant fantasy player, it would definitely need Javonte going down or at least not being as good. And I don't think Javonte, as a Denver fan, I have no hate for Javonte Williams at all. But I just don't think he is as good as we think he is, right? I truly do not think he is as good as people are giving him credit for. I think last year was a great season, don't get me wrong. But I'm just not entirely sure that is who Javonte Williams truly is. If that makes sense. So, take that for what it is. I'm not 100% bought in on Javonte being a good pick. I feel like these rookies, or not these rookies, these running back ADPs are so hard to like get to pay off, because they're so far pushed up the board. So I'm trying to ask myself, who are these early guys that I feel like could not pay their ADPs, right? Monty's one of them. I think Monty's one of them. Jonathan Brooks is one of them. James Cook is one of them. Derrick Henry's one of them. Christian McCaffrey. I'd like to get more McCaffrey than what I have. So, maybe I become more focused on getting him. But I think there's definitely some room where you can sit here and say, do these guys really have the room to pay off? Yes or no? And if your answer to that is you think that it is in their range of outcomes to finish where they're going currently, then take them, But I just think that we really need to think about we really need to get back to the process of what gets me the most points, right? Because in my eyes, Brees Hall at pick 25 or George Pickens, I would much rather have George Pickens than Brees Hall in a vacuum. So, you know, I would not be doing that. I think I would much rather have Devontae Smith over Javonte Williams. I would rather have a lot of these guys over Javonte Williams. But then you go to this fourth round and it's like Devontae Adams or David Montgomery. That to me is just not even close, and I would pick Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams, or not Devontae Adams, David Montgomery or Jameson Williams. Jameson Williams for me. David Montgomery, Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin. David Montgomery, DJ Moore. That one's a little closer. But, I feel like these players, they just should not be. They're so boosted that it just does not feel good to click them anymore. We're going to go Jeremy Bernard here for our last receiver, get a last little bit of upside. Because really, this last tight end is not going to matter. I like Gesicki. We could have got the Dolphins bring back with Caleb Douglas, with Josh Allen, and done that. We could do the Dawson Knox thing. I really kind of like the Dawson Knox thing in this format because it's a bring back that'll not a lot of people are gonna have if you make it to a final, and you might be the only person with Dawson Knox. And a Dalton Kincaid injury that could really pull a lever that makes sense to really want to have in a final. So I might pull that lever because I think that's a lever that I can pull that makes some sense, you know, with this team. So we get a 2-6-7-3. That's kind of seems to be the staple of what I build a lot of the time. So you'll see my rooms quite a bit where I have a 2-6-7-3. What's cool about the flock tool, again, I'm not here to promote the flock tool, but I think it's got some good stuff. I need to resync this, but what you can do is you can see what your builds are and what you have a lot of. You could see your whole portfolio right here. 3 QBs, 7 receivers, 6 running backs, 3 tight ends. That's what a lot of my roster construction is. You can see where you've gotten a lot of your stacks. You could see where your entries are. You could see what teams you drafted, your portfolio, kind of where your biggest values are of what you picked. My 2 highest owned guys, Tank Bigsby and Stephon Diggs, you could see I got them at huge values. Emmett Johnson, unfortunately, not so much. And this is where you average picked them. So, you know, if you want to sit here and say, hey, this is where I got Stephon Diggs on average the most. It was 130. So I got him at 26.7 points better than the ADP currently on Underdog. It shows that on this tool as well. Let me make this last pick real quick of Dawson Knox. But yeah, it's a unique tool. I really like this tool. It's not a bad tool by any stretch. I think it's really good. Kelsey, same thing. Ja'Cory Krosky, same thing. There's a lot of value winners in here. Kamara, Javante, DeAndre Swift. You could see Keaton Mitchell. There's some good values. There's also some bad ones. Bryce Young. I got him at Brian Robinson. Alec Pierce. We took a lot of Alec Pierce early. Pacheco, Algier. Algier, I was taking a lot. So, but yeah, I mean, we have, a good amount of drafts done. I think we're starting to get to the point where it's a little bit of fatigue setting in. So, but yeah, I think, we look at our portfolio real quick and we call it a stream. I think we're just going to do one on here for now. So right now, we'll go one by one here. Quarterbacks: Bo Nix, Kyler Murray, Trevor Lawrence, Tyler Shuck, Cam Ward, Jacoby Brissett, Baker Mayfield, Caleb Williams, Jared Goff, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Pat Mahomes, Joe Burrow. Rounding out the top page here, Bryce Young, you can see he's kind of at the bottom end of that. Bo Nix, I have a big belief in Denver this year, not just because I'm a fan of this team, but I also think they have a lot of actual legitimate weapons. I think Bo Nix is an actual legitimate quarterback. I mean, Troy Franklin, I think he's decent. Pat Bryant, I think, you could flip a coin on what I prefer on which day. Sutton is still a legitimate target. Jalen Waddle is exciting. He's fun. I think he could be really, really, really good. But yeah, that's why I have Bo Nix as my most owned. Same with the Vikings offense. I think the Vikings offense is extremely underrated. Kyler is a guy that I'm really bought into this season. Jefferson, Addison, Hawkinson, I think they can all be better with Kyler at the helm. Aaron Jones, is what it is. Mason is what it is. Jennings, I probably need to get to Jennings a little bit better than I currently am. I'd like to even this out a little bit more with TJ Hawkinson, Jawan Jennings, but I haven't yet, so take that for what it is. Going to running backs, we have Emmett Johnson, Tank Bigsby, Dylan Sampson, Kyron Williams, RJ Harvey, Isaiah Pacheco, Brian Robinson, Jonathan Taylor, Devon Achane, Tyler Algier, Alvin K, Travion Henderson, Nicholas Singleton, Woody Marks. Nothing too notable here to talk about. I really hated to see the Pacheco injury. Thought he was going to be, somebody I could actually figure out and maneuver and actually get some, David Monty role. Don't know if that's going to be the case anymore. So I'm kind of done taking him. Harvey, I think he kind of speaks for himself. 12 touchdowns in his rookie season, 356 receiving yards in his rookie season. That's really good. 540 yards running. I mean, he wasn't meant to be a runner, guys. He was meant to be a receiving back. It's kind of what he got drafted to be. And I think he got utilized really well. I think that this looks really good to me. I think RJ Harvey could have some, like it says, big play potential with Denver. I think that, he's a solid running back. Kyren, I think, is extremely slept on every single year that we talk about Kyren. I think that, is he a receiving back? Absolutely not. Blake Corum's still going to factor in there. But if something, in the event that something happens to Corum, A, or B, Kyren Williams, takes another leap forward in efficiency. I think that this is a really good guy. Double-digit touchdowns every single year, has good enough yardage, is in a good offense where he's going to score the ball. I think there's a lot of things to like about Kyren Williams still. I think his price is pretty cheap for what he is. And he keeps his nose down. He puts in a good amount of work, and I think Kyren Williams is a really good click. Dylan Sampson. Browns are going to be behind in a lot of games. I truly think Dylan Sampson's going to be on the field a lot. He's a really good pick, I think. Jonathan Taylor, he's probably my most owned first rounder. He's the easiest first rounder to get to, is my humblest opinion. He falls past pick 8 sometimes, which is crazy to me, because a healthy Jonathan Taylor season is one of these 2 seasons. I think that you have to take it into consideration that Jonathan Taylor is elite when he's healthy. Daniel Jones, he's back. He's not going to be as mobile. I think they're going to have to rely on Jonathan Taylor to have some more receiving work this season. I think that's a good thing. So, I think Jonathan Taylor's elite, man. I really, truly do. Emmett Johnson. My play on Emmett Johnson was he would be the backup to Ken Walker. Ken Walker never plays a full season, that kind of thing. I think Emmett Johnson is still a very valued click. I'm not clicking him as much. I think I'm done clicking him. There's some other guys later on in that range where I'm just clicking receivers basically at this point. Tank Bigsby, this is one of the easiest handcuffs to get to, in my opinion. It's not made sense to me all off season. He's the cheapest handcuff on a team that could be very, very elite. And on top of that, Saquon Barkley's heading into his age 30 season, age 29 season, and he's got a lot of tread on the tracks, man. And I think Tank Bigsby showed some flashes, and I think that he's definitely viable to be standalone value even as well. I think that he's one of those guys that I think has shown enough to be able to have some runway and be a part of this offense. So I that's why I kind of like Tank Bigsby quite a bit. Receivers, Stephon Diggs. I think this one's pretty self-explanatory why he's up this high. At one point, he was 40% or higher. I haven't been clicking him nearly as much just because he's more expensive now. I was getting him in the 130s, 140s, 150s even, sometimes even 160s. I always mapped him to be going to Washington. I didn't get him with Jaden a whole lot. I just think his value was too good to pass, so that's why I did it. Jalen Waddle, Brian Thomas, Marvin Harrison, Chris Olave, Alec Pierce, Travis Hunter, Cortland Sutton. I wish I didn't have to say this name, but Tyreek Hill. Justin Jefferson, Xavier Worthy, Jordan Addison, Monroe St. Brown, Jerry Jeudy, Jamar Chase, Jalen Naylor, rounding it out there. I kind of went down a little bit further there just to throw in Jamar Chase. I think, I wish I didn't have to say Tyreek Hill's name, but the only thing I can hope for with Tyreek Hill is that maybe he lands on a team and, he comes back for the last couple weeks and he ends up being a spike week play that I pray I can use. Sutton, I think, is extremely underrated. Again, going back to the Denver offense, I think he's extremely underrated for his price. 2,000-yard seasons back-to-back. 7 to 10 touchdowns, I'd say, is in his realm of outcomes. Gets a healthy amount of targets. If anything happens to Jalen Waddle, we'll see. But on the flip side, Jalen Waddle, we know 1,300 yards is a realm of outcome for him with very few targets, by the way. 117 targets, we know that's in a realm of outcomes for him. So I really, really like that. And Bo Nix has never had a player like Jalen Waddle on his team. I think this is a huge upgrade over Troy Franklin. I kind of think he replaces that Troy Franklin role, but he makes that Troy Franklin role even better. So that's kind of why I like that a lot. Moving on to the tight ends, we have Gunnar Helm, Kenyon Sadiq, Colston Loveland, Kyle Pitts, Rondé Gadsden, Trey McBride, Sam Laporta, Dalton Kincaid, TJ Hawkinson, and AJ Barner, Brock Bowers, Mark Andrews, Chig, and Harold Fannin. Gunnar Helm could potentially be the number one target in Tennessee's offense as a check down merchant who has a lot of athleticism, honestly. And Chigakonkwo is out of the way now. So he is literally the only tight end on the roster for the Tennessee Titans that really matters. That's huge. Kenyon Sadiq, freak athlete. I'm not really taking him a lot now because of the injury. There's a chance that he's not ready for week 1. But I'm okay with this risk because of how cheap I've been getting him. You know, I think Mason Taylor's a guy that you could also click now at this point where, Mason Taylor wasn't bad. And I think he's not terrible as a prospect either. Colston Loveland, there's a lot of hype. A lot of hype around Colston Loveland. I'm kind of with it at this point. I like him over Luther Burden. I like him over Rome. I think he is the guy. I think this is the guy. I'm a big Rome guy. If you go to the Bears shares, I'm more in on Rome than I am Luther Burden, and that's been more so a price thing. I think Luther Burden's been way too highly priced. Rome and Loveland have been the easier guys to get to, so that's who I've been getting to. And I really like Loveland. I think he's really good. I think he has a chance to leap up into that McBride tier this year, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, moving on. Laporta, we're going to go to the kind of mid-range here. Laporta, I really like. I think he's a part of an elite offense. Anything happens to J-Mo, anything happens to Amon-Ra, Laporta's share automatically just increases quite a bit. But I think Laporta's also going to have those boom weeks where we see 2 touchdowns and, 100 yards. I do think Laporta has that in his range of outcomes. So I think for his price at pick in the 90s, I think it's a really good value for a tight end like that. AJ Barner, I like him a lot because he's actually involved in some rushing packages. And with the Seahawks not really knowing who their running backs are going to be, that's a little bit interesting to me, is to see if AJ Barner can get some rushing touchdowns. I think there's a floor there that might establish itself. Might not be much, but I think it's interesting at the very least. Brock Bowers, I was clicking him a lot. I'm not clicking him as much because the Brock Bowers teams I do get, they end up being really, really ugly. Not really a huge fan of the Brock Bowers teams I get, but that's neither here nor there. So that's kind of what my exposures look like. We have quite a few teams. I forget, we're approaching the 500 drafts range, so we're getting there. We're wrapping up the end of best ball season, finishing strong. Hopefully you guys are having a good best ball season as well. I hope you guys are. So, if you guys are new here, make sure y'all drop a like. We're going to sync this one more time before I get off here. Let it sync, let it do its thing. We did do some DK drafting a little bit, not a whole lot. Just a couple rooms. I'm not really a big DK guy myself. So, it is what it is. Take that for what it is. So, let me refresh this page. Should be at, okay. Well, I think it's already synced. So, but yeah, we did do a couple DK drafts earlier, in the, not too long ago, but just a couple. I think there's 3 DK drafts that I did. So, nothing crazy. I haven't synced it on here yet. But anywho, that's going to do it for me. I'm probably going to end it here. So appreciate y'all tuning in. And like I said, I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.